All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. Thanks, first of all, for joining us today. We're going to cover qualifying the buyer. Fun. It's kind of like what I do. I'll introduce myself real quick, and then we'll get right into it. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the one that talks really fast. My name is Ron Lugashi with the Zamir Group, Keller Williams Town Life. We're the top team in the MLS for the last 6 years. And I'm a buyer specialist on that team, so I speak to many buyers. I have a lot of meetings, have a lot of conversations, have a lot of experiences. That, of course, allows me to share that wisdom, that knowledge with you to help you shorten your learning curve. All right, so what's our goal today? Our intention today is to provide you guys value. We always like to set the intention in advance, and today's goal, when it comes to qualifying the buyer, we want you to feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident when it comes to qualifying your buyers. So before we get going, any questions? Awesome. I'm going to get right into it. So I guess I have a question for you guys. What's so important about qualifying the buyer? What do you guys think? For those of you that can unmute yourselves.
It saves us time.
Yeah, it actually that's exactly what it allows us to do. It allows us to know how much time, effort, energy to be investing in this particular prospect, consumer, buyer, whatever you want to call them, right? We don't want to be wasting our time. That's exactly what happens when we don't qualify the buyer. Anything else that's important about qualifying?
It kind of gives us an idea of what our buyers are looking for.
Yeah, it definitely does. So that's part of why it saves us time. So if we know what they're looking for, we know to show them. Yet we also, it also allows us to know what not to show them. It allows us to discover what's important to them. It allows us to discover what their motivations are, so on and so forth. So it's just it's if there's going to be a script, and this is a script by all means, if there's going to be one script that we should be internalizing, it's definitely your pre-qual script. And it doesn't matter where we meet our buyers, what platforms, what avenues we're meeting our buyers. It could be at an open house, it could be a referral, it could be from a sign call, from an internet lead. It doesn't matter from where they come in. We want to use this specific script to obtain information so that we can convert at a much higher level, so that we can work less, make more. And of course, it allows us to do other things too. It allows us to also group our buyers in different ways, but we're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. So are there any, I guess we spoke about what's important about qualifying it. What are the benefits? Are there any other benefits that I didn't mention? Because I kind of mentioned a few of them, but are there any other benefits that qualifying the buyers / sellers allows us as agents, or provides us as agents? Any advantages, any benefits, any value to us? Any value to them? Any benefits to them? Any advantages to them? The buyer may not know it, there is a clear advantage to providing us with information. So we can actually help them, we can advise them, we can consult them, we can guide them, we can lead the way. So that there's a clear advantage in answering just a few questions. And it's really just a few questions. It doesn't actually take too long to answer these questions. So it definitely does benefit the buyer and does provide value to the buyer. Doesn't waste their time either. Just not ours, not theirs, not anybody. So I have a question for you guys. Do the majority of agents, do you think that they qualify, or they don't qualify their buyers properly?
They probably don't.
Yeah, the majority of agents, and I speak to a lot of you, the majority of agents, they just don't qualify their buyers properly. Now that of course, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that there's a better way. And definitely, if you're looking to convert at a much higher level, use your time in a productive way, definitely qualify them. And don't be like the majority of agents out there. If you want to be better than the majority of agents out there, just qualify your buyers, and you'll be better than the majority of agents out there. Just, it's that easy. Since if the many agents are not doing something and you do it, it makes you that much better. So if you do a buyer consultation, you're better than the majority of agents out there. If you tell your client what happens next at the end of every conversation, that makes you better than the majority of agents out there. If you pre-qualify, it makes you better than the majority of agents out there. If you actually pick up the phone to talk, it makes you better than the majority of agents out there. If you follow up, it makes you better than the majority of agents. It's just these small little things that if you get into the habit of doing, it makes you better than the majority of agents out there for one major reason: they're not doing it. So let's qualify our buyers. So when we I guess since we know that the majority of agents are not qualifying their buyers properly, question for you: what's preventing them from doing so?
Guys, we're so quiet.
That's
Don't be
okay.
afraid to speak up. Volunteer to help.
I'm sorry, you said the question was what's preventing agents from.
Yeah, from qualifying their buyers. So if we know that the majority of agents don't qualify their buyers properly, then what's preventing them from doing so?
They don't know how to properly ask the right questions or lead towards what the specific client's goals would be.
So
They don't have a proper script.
Yeah, and it's a simple script. We're going to go over it. It's just honestly 6 questions. And that's the most basic pre-qual script. We're not doing a full-on needs analysis. We're doing a pre-qual. Those are 2 different things. Full-on needs analysis is a little bit different, but we'll get to that later. It's a very short script, just a few simple questions, yet it provides a wealth of information. So they don't know what to say. What else? What else is preventing your traditional agent from qualifying their buyer properly? What do you think?
They're probably just being lazy.
Yeah, could be it. Just I don't feel like it. I'll do it later. Not right now. Listening to that voice in their head.
Lack of confidence.
That may be it. So then there's a follow-up question to that. If I was, one-on-one coaching with an agent, I would just simply ask the question: what's something that would improve or increase your level of confidence? And then there are certain activities that we could be doing to do just that, to increase our level of confidence. And then, of course, that makes you a better agent, because since you're converting at a much higher level, confidence does play a key role in your conversions. So what else? So their lack of confidence, they don't feel like it. They don't know what to say. What else? What else is preventing your traditional agent from qualifying their clients properly?
Their communication skills.
Yeah, that can definitely be something. So, and then of course we look in the mirror and we say, okay, if I want to improve my conversion, improve my skill, obviously communication skills are one of the skills as agents that if we improve upon, or when we improve upon, I should say, but with many agents, I would say if our conversion would improve, and of course we would be working a lot less and making a lot more, just like anything else, any other skill set that we improve. What else? There's probably plenty of things that we can think of what's preventing your traditional agent from qualifying their buyers properly. I think the one that is actually the most common reason or excuse, whatever you want to call it, hasn't been said yet. It's funny because it's usually the first thing.
Experience.
I think experience and confidence, they're kind of linked. I think the number one response I normally get to that question is definitely a type of, let's say, fear, and that specific fear is that they're not going to answer the questions, and that's just I guess you can call it a myth or a misconception. I pre-qualify people who are buyers every single day, and I can tell you from experience They always answer the questions. It is a very, very, very rare occasion when someone does not answer my questions. They always answer the questions. So that's it's typically the top reason or the first response I usually get, which you know is what's preventing your traditional agent from asking the right questions. They're afraid. They're afraid that their questions are not going to be answered, or they'll be rejected in a way, and so it's fear of rejection as well. And I can tell you that's a misconception. The majority, not even the majority, the vast majority, it's like 99.9%, like it's that high out of a not 100 out of 199 will answer for sure. Out of 1,999 will probably answer all my questions. You know, if you run into this one prospect that just, you know, is mean or rude or doesn't respond, and don't focus on them. What human beings, we tend to you know, as human beings we tend to focus on this one isolated incident and then generalize it across the board, when it's just that, it's the exception, and it's not what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on the vast majority, which are actually going to answer our questions. So if somebody doesn't want to answer the questions, we can handle that objection, or we can just say next. We can choose who we want to speak to. We can choose who we want to work with. Yes, as agents, we can choose. We don't have to work with everybody. And what you'll discover if you're working this line of work long enough is that not everybody is a good fit for each other. You know, many agents are not good fit for their clients, and many clients are not good fit for their agents. Not everybody's a good fit to work together, and that's okay. So let's go back to qualifying. I'm going to pull up a slideshow real quick. Let's see if we can share this properly. Actually, I took this right out of. Oh, you know what I wanted to do before I get to the PowerPoint, I want to show you guys where you can find some scripts, if that's okay. Let's go. Does everybody know how to? So I can actually get there. Oh, there we go. Does everybody know how to get to this page? The MyKW intranet. If anybody doesn't know how to get to this page, just reach out. Let us know. I'm going to show you that we have a wealth of scripts at our fingertips. We just don't necessarily use them. So if everybody's watching, once you're on the home page on your MyKW intranet, you can click on education, which is on the top left corner right over here. And from there, you're going to have all these boxes. So there's a few different places you can get scripts. There's the instructor-led training materials one, and you have all the courses lined up. So if you're looking for, I always just tell everybody go to KWU, which is in the middle. So this is KWU Scripts Catalog Volume 1, working with buyers, Volume 2, working with sellers, and Volume 3, Lead Gen. And let me see if I can pull up. Where is it? This one. So this is the, for instance, it's the KWU scripts for buyers. If you'll notice, it's just scripts upon scripts upon scripts upon scripts. On page 100, if you're looking for pre-qual scripts, they have their longer version over here on page 100. But it's just a wealth of scripts.
We don't
across.
see it.
You don't see the screen as I'm scrolling? No?
I think it opened into a separate window.
Okay. Let me do this. Let me
Sure.
stop
I
it.
am also going to put in the chat for everyone a link to a Google Drive that does include at least 2 of the 3 scripts Ron was just mentioning. So sit tight. I'll be popping that in the chat shortly.
You should see it now. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so this is the buyer scripts. So as you can tell, it's just scripts upon scripts upon scripts. If you're looking for pre-qual scripts, it starts on page 100. So this is pre-qualification / pre-approval process. It's just a script for it. I just prefer the shorter script because it's just less overwhelming. So let me stop this for, actually, you know what, it's right over here. So can everybody see that one?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So this is just a shorter version. This is just 6 questions. It's the acronym for it is LP Mama. So with the pre-qualification script here is, or the acronym for the pre-qualification script for LP Mama is 1, L for location, P for price, M is for motivation, A is for agency, the other A is for agency, and appointment. Oh, and mortgage. So mortgage, agency, motivation, and appointment. Go for the close, basically. And that's your 6 basic questions. And it's just simply, you know, where you're looking, what price range are you looking in? Have you spoken to a lender? Are you purchasing cash or mortgage? Do you own or do you rent? Since, you know, how long you've been looking, or are you working with an agent? And when works best, weekends or weekdays? And that's your basic pre-qual script. It's not too difficult actually to internalize. Anybody, I think, should be able to remember those 6 questions. Now you can always add additional questions. Those are the basic foundational ones, right? It'll give us a wealth of information. It'll let us know what the situation is and how we should address it. So, you know, and I always tell everybody, if you're conducting an open house, for instance, and there's one question you want to be asking, you definitely want to be asking them for their the motivation question: do you own or do you rent? And there's a reason for it. You'll be pleasantly surprised with the response with that with the answer to that question. So when we ask, do you own or do you rent, and the response is, well, we own. Well, ding, ding, ding. What is that? That's a listing appointment. All right, so now if we don't ask the question, you'll never get the answer. So the follow-up to that one, of course, is do you need to sell in order to buy? And you know, it's about half the time they do, half the time they don't. And then of course you want to discover if what their intentions are. Do they intend on holding on to the property? A family member is going to continue living in it. Are they going to rent it out? Are they going to sell it anyway? It's always a good idea to discover what their intentions are, so you know how to best move forward. And if you ask the questions again, you'll definitely get the answers. When it comes to questions, I always forget to stop myself. Do I have any questions from you guys so far? No questions. Okay. If you do have a question, just unmute yourself and ask the question, or else I'll just keep talking. There is a hard way of learning, and there's an easy way. Now, I learned the hard way. Now, what I mean by that is that as an agent, I've been on this team for 6 years now, as a buyer's agent, and I've spoken to many buyers, and I spoke to just as many buyers back when I started as I do now. Back then, I was having a lot more conversations. I was having a lot more meetings, yet I wasn't doing as much business. Today, I'm having just many conversations, yet I'm going on a lot less meetings and doing more business. What do you think is a factor in that?
You're able
Your
to.
knowledge?
Oh, knowledge definitely helps. Expertise goes a long way in conversion. Yet there's something. There's something shifted in the behavior and the response in the system. What was it?
You're able to filter and qualify potential clients faster and quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it goes back to, I know how much time, energy, and effort to put into these people, and whether I should be meeting them at all. Let me pull this up. So let's go to Ready. This is just right out of Ignite. It's the slideshow there. Let me show you guys something. So, oh, first of all, the stats in here are pretty interesting. It increases our awareness level around the fact that where the buyers actually end up coming from. Basically, 50% of buyers, they come from referrals from a friend, a neighbor, family, relative, somebody that they know. So somebody else knows you, or possibly even used you as an agent, or may not have used you but knows you, and they referred business to you. That means that we have to stay top of mind with our sphere in order to get those referrals. So these are NAR stats. In a very, very low percentage of all buyers actually used an agent they used previously. Only 13% used their previous agent. What do you guys think is the top reason that 87% of buyers not first time home buyers, but I guess obviously somebody that purchased a home did not use their previous agent? What do you think that top reason is?
They didn't keep in touch.
Yeah, they didn't keep in touch. They forgot who they were. They forgot all about them. We have to stay top of mind. So when we say one of your lead gen activities to keep in touch with your database and your sphere, that's the reason. We want to be top of mind so that it increases likelihood that we get business referred our way. Very, very small percentage inquired about a property online, even though obviously Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin, that's big business. A very small actually end up saying, I because of Zillow. They're browsing online, yet that's not ultimately how they choose their agents. They might have went to an open house. They might have been referred from another agent, but those are very small percentages. The majority actually end up deciding working with an agent that's been referred to them. So we have to stay top of mind. I also want to share with you that there's systems and everything that we do. A system that I do follow, and Ignite actually promotes it. When a lead comes in, how we take in that lead is important. So after we qualify them, what happens next? So after we obtain their information, what happens next? So to keep it organized, so I used to have, back a few years ago, I used to have like postcards, like note cards everywhere, and I used to have Excel spreadsheets with all my buyers and pipelines and everything. And then, of course, I got a little bit more organized, and I started using Command to organize my pipeline. And there's several pipelines. There's a lead pipeline, a pending pipeline, and a closed pipeline. So I have all my pipelines organized, and it's in front of me. So once a lead comes in, I'll create the opportunity, and then I have all of my leads or my lead pipeline in front of me all day, every day, and then I don't forget anybody. We don't want to forget people. So it's just a system that I have, so I don't so I can improve my conversion from lead to client to close. All right. I'm sure we have videos. There's no way that we don't have videos on opportunities online on our BCP YouTube page right now. So we want to classify them as ready, able, and willing. And I'll share with you that the majority of buyers that we come across, even sellers, the majority of buyers and sellers that we come across, the leads that we come across, the majority of them are not ready, willing, and able at that very moment to buy or sell. They're just not. That's just the way it is. So what that requires, it requires follow-up. Now, how do we distinguish which ones are ready, willing, and able? Also, I always say an A buyer in today's environment, and it's still a very strong seller's market, even though we're seeing a decrease in activity, it's still a very competitive environment. We're still seeing multiple offers on all good inventory, especially on multifamily homes. So it's not just ready, willing, and able. That's not necessarily the definition of an A buyer. An A or an A plus buyer is somebody that's ready, willing, and able, and will do whatever it takes. So it's just another level of competitiveness that they need to be agreeable to, and it's just that's the environment that we're in order to obtain. So they have to be ready, willing, and able, and agreeable to do whatever it takes, of course. So how do we discover how ready, how willing, how able they actually are. Well, you could actually pre-qualify them, right? I think it's mandatory. It's just, I think that we're committing malpractice if we don't actually qualify our potential buyers and sellers. It's just, we don't know how to proceed best if we don't know how to advise them. How are we possibly going to create a path for them to the outcome, the accomplishment they're looking to obtain, if it may not even be realistic? They may not be qualified. For instance, they may not have the ability to even buy a home. So we have to discover as much information as we possibly can. It really comes down to only a few basic questions. It doesn't take more than a few minutes to ask and respond to. So it's just a matter of just asking the questions. So the definition of an A buyer, B buyer, C buyer. By the way, I'm not saying that this has to be your definition of an A buyer, B buyer, or C buyer. It's just an example. Obviously, the slides were already prepared, so I'm using them. But maybe an A buyer is somebody for you that needs to buy between 0 and 30 days, not 0 and 14 days. It's up to you how you want to define it, how you want to separate them. It's always a good idea. And for one, the major reason that we look to separate our buyers in our lead pipeline is because we don't want to necessarily provide the same amount of attention to all of our leads. Now, if you have one lead, yeah, by all means, you give all the attention to them. If you have an abundance of leads, and I think it's a goal that any agent would like to have, just have an abundance of leads in their pipeline. You can't pay the same amount of attention to all. It goes back to the 80-20 rule, the Pareto rule, and we're going to spend 80% of our energy, our efforts, and our time on the top 20. That's basically, if you had 10 buyers, your top 2 is what you're going to spend 80% of your energy, time, and effort on, and then the remaining 80, we're going to spend 20% of our time, energy, and effort. That's just a strategy. It doesn't have to be your strategy. I always tell agents, always, if you hear something and you like it from me, by all means, internalize it, incorporate it in your systems, make it your own, copy it. And if you don't like it, don't worry about it. But I just think it's a good strategy when you have a very healthy pipeline, lead pipeline. All right. And then we want to qualify them. And we spoke about the actual script, the LP Mama script. Yet what kind of documentation could you use? And it's really it's called a lead sheet or an intake sheet. And it looks, they do have it here. Okay. So you can have a buyer lead sheet. I know different agents, as part of their systems, they actually have it in different colors. The lead sheet, you can use it as it comes in, or you can use it for your buyer consultations as well. I've seen agents actually use lead sheets as their buyer consultations. So it's, again, there's no right or wrong, just depends how you want to use it as part of your systems. And when we talk about systems, it's just, what's your response to every single lead that comes in? Okay, this happens, then what happens next? Okay, this happens, then what happens next? Okay, that happens. Okay, what happens next? And it's the same procedure, same protocol for every single lead that comes in, and that's basically your system. And if you don't have a system, well, that's a system too. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that there's better, and there's always room for improvement. We're always looking to improve our system so that we can be more efficient and be more productive, and of course improve our conversion. So a lead sheet is a tool. You can definitely use it as you wish. So it's just an option. By the way, let me stop this for a second. If you go back to where was it? To this screen, to the Mikey W screen. Actually, if we just go back one, where are you? If we go back one, no, what did I do? Did I stop the share? I stopped the share, didn't I? If we go back one screen, which is here. All right, can you see that? So if you go back one screen, on the far right over here, it says Ignite. You do have a copy materials in here as well. So if you go to materials on the instructor files, you'll see different sessions. There should be a lead sheet in here somewhere. There's also some scripts in here as well. I just forget which session it was under. It was under one of the buyer ones. Okay. So that's that. Any questions so far? I always talk pretty fast and I'm kind of all over the place sometimes, but it's okay. Any questions about anything?
Could you show the first, second, first buyer, the one of the slide percentage?
The LP Mama, the pre-qualifying script, sure.
Yes, I think that one.
Yeah, I took it from Ben Kinney's website. Ben Kinney's the KW's top team. I sell about $1 billion worth of real estate, so I guess the script must be working, right? So the it doesn't have to be in this order, by the way. Also, as we qualify the buyers, let's just say there's an incoming lead or an incoming call that comes in. There's different systems that we can have. You hear me say that word a lot because it's that important to our businesses. If we're looking to grow our businesses, systems is actually one of those components that we need to improve upon in order to grow our business. Excuse me. So there's different systems in taking leads, and the question is, what does it look like? So for most agents, it's one of two systems. The first system is that the lead comes in. Now, they're calling to obtain something. What do they want? Generally, it's to see a house. That's usually why they're calling. They're calling off a sign. They're calling off something that's on the internet. So they want to see a house. That's what they want. Now, what do we want? Well, we want some answers to some questions. That's what we want. So the first system tends to be, well, we're going to give them what they want, which is to see a house. We're going to schedule the appointment, and then they're going to give us what we want, which is some answers to some questions. The second system is actually the opposite. It's the they're going to answer some questions for us first. They're going to give us what we want, and then we're going to give them what they want, and we're going to go ahead and schedule the appointment for them. So those are just two different systems. They're just the opposite of each other. There are some other systems. A third one being we're going to meet in the office or we're not going to meet at all. Yet there's very few agents that actually follow that one. So I don't mention it too much. There's no right or wrong. Just understand that having a system goes a long way. Now, you could be like the traditional agent, or what I used to do, which is to accept the call. Oh, you want to see 123 Main Street? Sure, no problem. I'll see you there. Yeah, that's a system. It's not a very good one. And it's not necessarily going to lead to the outcome that we're looking for because, well, I used to do it and I discovered the hard way that it's really just a waste of time. So you can drive sometimes 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes each direction, back, forth, spend another 10, 15, 30 minutes at the property, spend about 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half total, and have nothing to show for it other than, well, you got to see a house, since the outcome of that meeting tends to be where, at the end of the showing, it's not just the end of the showing, it's also the end of any kind of relationship with that individual, that prospect, that consumer, since they don't respond to your text messages, phone calls, emails, nothing, nada, zilch, zero, and we just wasted our time. That's what we discovered. So that's a system. You can be the jump and run, go and show type agent, yet there is a better way, and that way is to have a system that includes pre-qualifying the buyer. Definitely want to do that. So it doesn't have to be in the order. You can definitely, talk to them about their motivation first. You can talk to them about, about agency first. You can talk to them about price, location. You can talk about you can put it in any order you'd like. As long as you cover all your bases, you're in good shape. It's just a wealth of information just from these 6 particular questions. And it sounds like a conversation. It doesn't sound like a script. It's just simply they're calling about a property, and it doesn't sound it doesn't sound like a script. It doesn't sound like an interview. You can definitely add statements or emotional statements in between. You can add value proposition in between, so it sounds more like a conversation. Any questions so far? Because we're about towards the end already. Well, what I want you guys to take out of our time together today is the importance of qualifying the buyer, of how we should be qualifying the buyer. It's just a short, simple script. It's nothing that should overwhelm anybody. It's a very easy thing. They will answer the questions. There are some clear benefits, advantages to us and them. It gets us in the right direction. We discover how much time, energy, and effort we need to be investing in that consumer prospect buyer. And it's simple. It's easy. It's nothing too crazy. Just ask them some questions. And it's something that anybody can do. Anybody can answer and ask those simple questions, and I guarantee you they will definitely answer the questions for you. What about you guys? What questions do you have?
I have a question from before about like the survey from, I think it was the National Association of Realtors. I think it mentioned that I think it was around 50% of typical leads came from referrals from the sphere of influence. And then surprisingly at the bottom, I saw was around 4% for open houses, which was surprising to me.
It's surprising to me because I think it's high, that number. I actually think it's lower. I actually think it's lower than that number. And I only think that number is high because we're in a very strong seller's market. In a very strong buyer's market, that number will be much, much lower. The only reason being is that we never used to see buyers go direct to a listing agent at an open house. I'm talking like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. It was something that seldomly happened, rarely happened. And obviously because, if think of 3 times or 4 times more inventory than there is now. And the majority of the properties are overpriced. And, the majority of the negotiations are one-on-one. While there were multiple offers, it was a seller's market. Back then, it wasn't 20 offers. It was like 2 offers. 3 offers would be like, wow, that's crazy. So the majority of transactions were one-on-one. And they were represented by a buyer's agent. There wasn't that many dual agencies going on like there is now. In a very strong, crazy seller's market, that number will go up because there's many buyers. Their strategy is to go direct to listing agents to increase the likelihood they obtain, yet many times they still don't. It doesn't necessarily benefit them.
Got it. And then, so if that's the case, how would you recommend? I know, like, you might recommend open houses as well, of course, to lead gen, and I know you also recommend.
Oh yeah, well, that's a different conversation. The goal of an open house, what's the goal? What's the intention? Is to obtain leads. You're not necessarily going to sell them that house. You are going to obtain leads that you can put them in your pipeline, and of course convert them into buyers / sellers, whatever it may be, investors, renters, whoever shows up, and you're bulking up your lead pipeline. So the goal is to obtain leads at an open house. That is our intention. We're going to sell them something else in all likelihood.
So I guess in that reported number, like the 4%, that's specifically for a specific house. Like, did that not, like, if you generate a lead from one property and they end up buying a different property from you later, was that also included?
That's I think that's probably, that makes more sense. I think that the dual agency number should be lower than that. So that's probably what they meant, where you met your potential buyer maybe at an open house.
Okay, got it.
I can also tell you that the number, if that's the case, that number should be higher, for one major reason. We talk about systems all the time, and there is a way to improve conversion with open houses. Your traditional agent, I'm talking about us, right? Because we're looking always to grow, to learn, to improve our conversions by improving our skill set, by improving our systems, by improving our tools. The majority of agents, your traditional agent out there, they just show up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even stick a sign in front most of the time. They're kind of there. They kind of hang out. They don't use scripts. They just say hi and bye to people. They're just kind of like there so people can see a house. They don't follow up. That's the majority of traditional agents out there. It doesn't take much to be better than your traditional buyer's agent. It really doesn't. And that's also kind of like why the industry, gets a lot of flack. When somebody says a real estate agent, what does the public think? What do consumers think? Well, they think they're all in the world the same, and it's just not the truth. And it's our job to turn that perspective, to change that perspective, and let them know that not all agents are the same. That some are better than others, and we can communicate our value proposition and increase their awareness level that we're one of the better ones, that we do things a little bit differently. We can also do it by taking action, by showing. So it's not difficult. It's an easy thing, yet the majority of agents just don't. They just, for lack of a better word, I think they're just lazy.
Got it. And then also too, like, I mean, I've only hosted like 2 open houses so far. I learned, the first time I did it, I didn't have any signs. I learned pretty quickly, if I'm not gonna be marketing it well, obviously no one's really gonna go. I started putting up signs on the second one as well. And then I also was wondering, for door knocking, right? Would you go like within like the surrounding like community and knock and hand out flyers that, hey, there's gonna be an open house here at this time from 12 to 3. Do you like recommend that as a strategy to generate more traction for an open house as well?
Sure. It's a lead gen activity. Door knocking is a lead gen activity. And if you systemize it just like anything else, if you create strategies, it'll definitely improve your conversion with the door knocking as well. So there's different ways. I think it's another conversation. What script are you using? At what time do you do it? How many doors are you doing? There's, what material, what items of value are you handing out? How do you follow up? Do you have a special open house hour? There's a lot, there's a lot of questions that can go in your strategies. And it's, when I talk about strategies, then I'm asking you to visualize your 1-3-5s. You basically, if your priority is door knocking, okay, great. Let's talk about strategies. Let's talk about your system in order to help us improve our conversion. And that's just, I think it's a one-on-one more conversation. Because everybody's systems look a little bit different. The question is, what do you want yours to look like? Yet those are some of the components that could be part of your system.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely improves, and it's just a simple question. It really is a simple question to discover the answer. It's, well, if I door knock 100 doors before every open house that I do, am I gonna get? Is there an increased likelihood that I'm going to obtain leads compared to if I never door knock at all?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the answer is obvious. It's a rhetorical question. Yeah, of course, there's an increased likelihood to obtain leads because you're taking action. And with increased action, you'll get increased results. Yet if we take no action, we'll get no results. So yeah, it's the answer to your question. The short answer is yes, it works.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All neighbors, family and friends, know the open house near and everyone more interesting, I think. Yes, this is very good idea.
Yeah, just invite them to a party, basically. All right. You say, listen, we're having an open house down the street. We'd like to invite you to it. There'll be cake pops and orange juice or whatever it is that you're offering them as items of value, but you want to get them in there. Or having just an hour just for the neighbors, or a VIP hour just for the neighbors, whatever you want to call it. from 12 to 1 before we actually open it up to the public, from 1 to 3, 1 to 4, whatever you're trying to sell. But you know, you definitely want to communicate value and items of value to increase their response rate. Bring an ice cream truck and not a bouncy house. Don't bring a bouncy house. There's too much liability there. But yeah, there's all kinds of creative ways that I've heard. I don't do it because it's too much. I have my system and that's what I do, but that doesn't prevent you from creating your own. So you can go as big as you like. I don't think there's any right or wrong. I just think that you need to be consistent. I think doing something once is not good enough. It's just it's great. You did something once, you didn't obtain results, so you're not doing it again. Okay, great. That was no waste of time. Yet, if you consistently do the same thing over and over again, you'll get consistent results. Whether it be door knocking 100 doors or 1,000 doors, whether it be circle prospecting before or after, sending mailers before or after, paying for paid advertising before or after, how you follow up after. There's a lot of different components. Again, that's your system.
When you first started up in the business, what was your number one system you used to generate leads?
So I'm part of the top team in the MLS. We did 192 million last year. So there's always leads coming in. So the two platforms that are the two avenues that I was specialized in was incoming internet leads and open houses. Those were my two lead gen levers always, other than Sphere/database, of course, which is mandatory for everybody. Yes, it is. You don't have a choice. So I'm really good with taking incoming leads and converting them into appointments.
Gotcha.
It's also kind of why I'm sitting here right now. So yeah, we talk about it a lot. Improving leads with improving conversion with incoming leads, or improving conversion at open houses. I found that those are my levers. It doesn't necessarily have to be yours. There's no right or wrong. I know agents that don't do open houses at all. I know agents that don't get any internet leads, yet they're very successful with other things. So there's 24 different ways, or lead gen levers, or even more. Actually, there's more than that that you can choose to do. And there's no right or wrong. I would say don't do all of them. Just choose the 1, 2, or 3 of them and focus on those. So if it's calling expires and for sale by owners, focus on that. And if it's door knocking, focus on that. And if it's circle prospecting, focus on it. If it's business to business events, focus on that. If it's nonprofits, focus on that. If it's absentee landlords, focus on that. If it's investors, focus on that. If it's commercial, focus on it. There's no shortage of types of buyers, types of product that you can be working with. There's no shortage of lead gen levers that you can choose. You can make your yoga class, your bike class, your gym buddies, your lead gen lever. You can make your church group a lead gen lever. There's no right or wrong. It depends how creative you want to get with it and how you want to systemize it. But it does go back to how consistent you are with your systems in your lead gen levers. So the easiest example to use is social media, because everybody uses social media, yet that doesn't make it a lead gen lever just because you made one post. That's not that has no consistency. If it's one post here, one post there, that doesn't. You can't call that a lead gen lever. Show me your system. Most agents will look at me with a blank face and I'll say, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Okay, well, yeah, if we're talking, if social media is a lead gen lever, show me your system. Show me how you interact. Show me how your follow-up. Show me your advertising. Show me your calendar. Show me your content schedule. Show me, show how specifically how many posts are you doing a day? Are you doing a week? To what platforms are you doing it? For holidays, show me your schedule, your calendar, and what content you're posting or sending. Show me how you react with engagement. How do you engage? There's a lot of different components Question is, what is your system? And everybody has a different one, and it's okay. There's no right or wrong system. It's just, I'm saying have one. Just be aware of it. It will improve your conversion. So, any last questions, words, issues, opinions, comments?
Oh, I'm curious. Also, I know, like you mentioned, you know, you're the #1 team on the MLS, and I'm sure you already have many leads coming in that you mentioned you do turn into appointments. I'm curious, like once, I mean, obviously starting out, I'm trying to find as many lead generating activities that I possibly can. But since like you see that most of the leads come from referrals, are you like at a point where basically you have enough leads coming in that you don't have to do lead gen, or it's like a consistent, it's something that just comes with practice? You just do the same thing over and over. You consistently want to do that no matter how many leads you're getting from referrals as well.
So I'm always doing open houses. I don't just talk about doing open houses. I do open houses. I don't just talk about previewing properties. I preview the properties. I do basically what I teach. So I'll do open houses every single weekend. The intention is to do it even both days, Saturday and Sunday, if it's possible. At least to have one day a week that I'm doing an open house. So I'm doing that every single week, and that is a lead gen lever. When it comes to the internet leads and the open houses, the majority of my schedule is following up, is creating those appointments. That's what my schedule looks like. So I'm in the office all day, every day, like it's a job or something. And you'll typically find me sometime, usually by 8:30, I'm in the office. And I don't leave. Like right now, I'm still in the office. It's normal for me to be at 6, 7 o'clock still in the office. And I'm generally in the office all day, every day, from the morning to the evening. And I don't live too far. I live like a few minutes away, but I don't go back home because there's so many distractions at home, and I'm not going to be as productive. Some people can work from home just fine. Me, I find that I'm more productive in an office with 4 walls and nothing else to do other than to actually to work. So I prefer being in an office. So that's basically my schedule. If somebody's wondering what my schedule looks like, I'm in the office all day, every day. I work 7 days a week, and I like it.
I have a question, Ron.
Yeah, what's your
Is
question?
the same weather conditions, the same? Which day is the better, Sunday or Saturday?
Well, what I found is that Sunday has slightly more traffic activity. It's been a little bit more evenly spread lately, where I'll only slightly get more on a Sunday than on a Saturday. It doesn't deter me from doing a Saturday. I'm looking for quality leads. If I can get one quality lead on a Saturday, that'll make it worthwhile. So if you get more than that, obviously it's even more worthwhile. So we still got to work. It's, yes, of course, Sundays you can say is slightly, there's an increase in the activity, but again, it's quality over quantity. I would say if you can do it in the middle of the week, do it in the middle of the week. We're always looking to create opportunities for ourselves, and we can only do that by taking action. So if you can do open houses 7 days a week, do open houses 7 days a week. It's there's no rules. You make it up as you go. Kind of whatever works for you, you do that. Whatever doesn't work for you, then don't worry about it. There are agents out there that's what they do. Believe it or not, they'll do open houses, several times a week, and that's their one lead gen lever. They don't focus on anything else. They take it to an extreme, and you can do that with anything. You can call expires all day, every day. You can call for sale by owners all day, every day. You can circle prospect all day, every day, and not do one open house ever. There's no right or wrong. It just depends on what you want to focus on. If you're an expert in something, you're more skillful generally. You're a specialist, and the specialists always get paid more.
Thank you.
Right. So I always recommend being hyper local, being a special or being especially in a particular activity or in a particular product or a particular demographic or a particular area. Just be a specialist, be an expert. It takes time. Well, you can say it even takes years. Yet you got to be consistent. You also got to be intentional and committed.
And when you started in real estate, did you do like many different things? Like you took listings, did you work on commercial properties? Like how did you find your specific niche where you were like, this is what I'm really good at, this is what I'm gonna consistently do and make this my specialty? I guess like you mentioned, it takes years. Like when did you find that point for yourself?
Well, I was originally I was working. I worked 5 years in Las Vegas as an individual agent before I came back to New Jersey, and I was a jack of all trades, just like I think the majority of agents are. And when I got back into it, and I eventually joined the team, and I joined the team as a buyer specialist, that was it. You know, that's basically the role that was provided to me. That doesn't mean that I don't manage listings or don't have the ability to. I do about 3 or 4 a year that I manage listings. It's generally because the client, I have a relationship with them and they want me to be their contact, and not Zohar, and that's okay. So I'll manage the listing. So we have those opportunities as well. Yet because I joined a team, which is unlike most agents are individual agents. They're not on teams. That role was already set for me. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yep. Thank you.
Then going back to when I was an individual agent, yeah, I was a jack of all trades. I didn't pick anybody, and I'm definitely a proponent of teams. I learned more my first year with the team than I did in all the years I learned I had previously. So it's just, the frequency, the intensity, the amount of experiences you have, on a daily basis. That's what provides the growth. That's what provides the learning. That's what provides the improvement. And of course, it goes a long way. When you improve your skill set, you'll improve your conversion. And it's just one of the things when you surround yourself with others that are better than you, it's bound to happen. You can't be in a room by yourself and expect to grow fast. It's just not going to happen. There's also a ceiling if you're in a room by yourself. So you always want to surround yourself with people that are better than you to some capacity.
For sure.
So, any last questions? All right, it's 6:58. We're done on time. That was very punctual of us. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I trust you got some value out of our time together today. And if you have any questions, concerns, issues, I always welcome your texts, your emails, your phone calls. Just reach out to me. I'm always pretty responsive. And I always wish you guys well. I want to I guess, what day is it even? I don't even know. Monday? I wish you guys the best of what's remaining on this Monday. Be well. Let's get back to work.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening.